What are your thoughts of the newest Invincible episode? Because after I watched it for the third time, I realized that this has now entered into a new category of TV watching, of animation watching, that I like to call the repeat offender, because this to me is a masterpiece in not only animation but storytelling. But now it's in a category where I can rewatch this several times over and not get tired of it. And I thought, what other animation episodes do I do the exact same thing with? To clarify, I'm not saying these things are perfect. I'm not saying that they're masterpieces among all animation. I'm just saying that I think they're masterpieces, and I believe that I've probably watched them a dozen times now, and that's how high I'm going to get with this episode. The Rick Lantis mix-up starting out strong. This, to me, when I first watched it, I already knew I was going to watch it over and over again, and I've watched it at least 15 times throughout the years. This is the best Rick and Morty episode. They've not come out with an episode that has outdone this one yet, although they've gotten close, but this is my favorite one. I absolutely love this episode. It builds so much story so fast with such an iconic ending and an iconic song, and I love this episode. Now, going back to my high school days, Sozin's Comet. I watched this as it aired on Nickelodeon, and back then you couldn't just rewatch it over and over again, so it took years before I actually saw it either on streaming or I remember I got the box set, but I would watch this over and over again. One of my favorite climaxes of any TV show whatsoever, regardless of animation, but also the fact that this episode, I've rewatched it at least over the years, once I got my hands on it, at least 20 times plus, maybe 30 times. Road to the North Pole, Family Guy. I told you guys they're not going to be the exact same category, but this is my favorite Family Guy episode. I'm a huge Family Guy fan, been watching it since 2000, the original first season, before it got canceled, and then I watched it when it came out, I think on Adult Swim. But yeah, this episode, if you guys not seen this episode, it is a must-watch Christmas episode for me. Every year I watch it, every single year. It is probably the most realistic take on what you would imagine Santa Claus is and what he'd have to go through and what the reindeer would have to go through and the elves and all that. It's great. And I don't know, Stewie and Brian, this is their best episode in my opinion. Again, I've watched it every single year it's come out, and it came out in 2010. I still remember watching it when it first aired. 2010. Oh my God, that's 15 years ago. So 15 times, probably more than that. So yeah, this one is definitely up there. Lastly, Cavalry Battle. I have watched this so many times in English, in Japanese, in AMVs. Sometimes I go and watch people's reactions to it. I love this episode. This is by far one of my favorite episodes in anime.